China admitting another balloon, the one spotted flying over the skies of Latin America, does belong to them. Chinese officials say that balloon was being used for flight tests. The Pentagon, however, claims it is another surveillance balloon.
Yeah, the Pentagon not buying Chinese explanations. Just 2 days ago, you'll probably remember, a U.S. military fighter jet, an F-22, with a single missile, shot down a suspected Chinese surveillance balloon 6 miles off the coast of North Carolina. The Navy is now searching for what remains of that balloon on the surface and below the waves. CNN's Diane Gallagher joins us live from a boat near that search. Diane, I know they're keeping you at a distance. I'm curious what you're able to see where you are and what exactly and how much are U.S. Navy divers hoping to find?
Yeah, so Jim, about half an hour ago, the captain of our boat, the Linda Ann, we're on a shrimp boat here off the coast of Myrtle Beach, was essentially told by the Coast Guard, this is as close as we can get. And I can't move very much because the cell signal for me to connect with you is a little dodgy. So I'm going to just do very limited motions to let you know. Behind me, you may be able to see very much in the distance, there's some Coast Guard vessels that have set up a perimeter. We're roughly 3 miles off the coast of the Myrtle Beach shoreline in South Carolina at the moment. That perimeter is set up. Within that perimeter, that's where the recovery efforts are taking place. According to a U.S. senior military official, we're talking about 47 feet of water, which is a lot more shallow than they had anticipated when they shot down that suspected Chinese spy balloon. We're told that they're going to use Navy divers as well as unmanned vessels to try and bring the structure up. They'll put it on a salvage vessel. They'll take that then back to the Quantico area so intelligence officials can examine what they bring up. I can tell you that also last night in the North Myrtle Beach area, we saw what seemed to be items that were being brought up, but CNN was not able to independently confirm. We did reach out to the U.S. Navy to see if in fact that's what those U.S. Navy officials were bringing up, but they would not confirm it for us. I can tell you out here, our captain says that this area right now at this time of day is usually very busy. We're the only vessel out here aside from that perimeter of the Coast Guard. This is as close as we can get.
Diane Gallagher, appreciate it. Thank you.
With me now to discuss what happens next, retired Army Major General Spider Marks and Zola Nkanu-Youngs. He's White House correspondent for the New York Times. He was traveling with President Biden this weekend. General Marks, if I could begin with you, concerns now about the possibility of retaliation and escalation whenever you have a superpower firing at another superpower. I just want to play briefly an incident that occurred a number of years ago when I was on a Chinese surveillance or U.S. surveillance flight around China in 2015 when the Chinese Navy warned us away. These flights continue every day. Have a quick listen here.
This is the Chinese Navy. This is the Chinese Navy. Please go away quickly.
They were warning away a U.S. P-8 Poseidon surveillance jet I was on at the time. As you know, General Marks, these are regular events. The P-8 Poseidon, that's a crewed flight. It's around there. The Global Hawk, that's an unmanned aerial vehicle around China. China made a not-so-veiled threat, reserving the rights to take action against U.S. surveillance flights. I wonder what you rate the risk of Chinese retaliation at this point.
Pretty low, Jim. Every one of those American flights that you described and what the United States intelligence community and our services do as a matter of routine is in international airspace. I mean, it's available for, it's the ungoverned, I mean, it's the governed commons. Everybody can go there, everybody can do what they want. So when the Chinese send these kinds of warnings, and you were a part of that on that P-8 Poseidon, also bear in mind, back in the early 2000s, the Chinese shot down the predecessor to the P-8, the P-3, and it had to emergency land in Hainan Island. That, again, was an incursion, an aggressive act on the part of the Chinese. So for the United States to be concerned about retaliation, I think that's frankly, the entire incident, for the most part, without being flipped, is a little bit of a nothing burger. This was an opportunity for the United States to declare a priori when they first detected the balloon to China, say, hey guys, you got a balloon coming our way. We're going to do something with it. We're going to make an assumption that if this thing enters into the ADIZ, it's not because you wanted it to, but we're going to take it down and we're going to kind of deconstruct what took place. We're going to figure out what you guys were doing. What do you think about that? I think that was the course that should have been taken.
So, Zolan Kano-Youngs, you were traveling with the president this weekend. I imagine you were asking a lot of questions about the decision-making process going into it. What was the level of U.S. concern about the national security risk from this surveillance balloon? Did they take this down because of that risk, or did they take it down in part because of concerns about political fallout here in the U.S.?
I think most of the concern had to do with whether or not shooting this spy balloon down earlier in the week could cause harm to anyone on the ground, at least based off of, the statements that we got from numerous U.S. officials. When President Biden came off Air Force One, I did ask him to elaborate on some of the recommendations and advice he got from his own national security officials. And he emphasized, when asked about the timing of the downing of the balloon, he emphasized really that they were focused on the safety of those on the ground. That being said, that runs up against, we're seeing some political criticism from Republicans, and it comes ahead of the State of the Union that we know the White House wanted to focus on his economic agenda. So it's safe to assume that there are some that around the president that are annoyed of the shadow this now casts around an address that they still want to focus on a slate of legislative achievements and the economy.
General Marks, you mentioned the 2001 incident when a U.S. EP-3 collided with a Chinese jet that then brought it down. There's a lot of analysis at the time that China was making a show of strength there, right? Saying, we're going to come up close and challenge those surveillance flights. I mean, I suppose there are the escalations you want and the ones you don't want or can't control. What kind of communications do you expect are going between the U.S. and Chinese militaries now to avoid an escalation?
Jim, that's the great question. And it starts with, I don't want to venture into policy. I'm not a policy guy, but when you look at the Secretary of State's decision not to go to Beijing, I view this differently. I think he probably should have gone to Beijing to keep those lines of communications open. That's exactly what you have to have in circumstances like this. You cannot shut down when the narrative is this is ratcheting up. We can't allow that to happen. And look, I would say that when you look at this balloon technology, look, I've launched balloons with different sensors on the bottom of them when I've been in different places around the globe. It's an effective collection platform. So for the United States to look at this and say, oh, it's a balloon, it's no big deal. It is a big deal. And let's address it. Balloons give you loiter, they give you layering, you've got satellites, you can have a balloon, you can have aircraft, et cetera. So all of that as an intelligence guy makes sense to me. But in this case, I have to look at this more as a policy decision driven by policy than driven by intelligence collection concerns.
Yeah, we've certainly seen the politics injected, as Zolan was saying there. Major General Spider Marks, Zolan Kano-Youngs, thanks so much to both of you.